Alright guys, so we're here to show off the new 2020 Fluffals with, of course, one of the best cards in the archetype, the Cruel Whale. Now, it's actually a really insane combo that I have to explain first. For any of you guys that are interested in playing Fluffals, there's a lot of combos that will end up doing basically the same thing to make it so your opponent will basically be locked out of the game. So you can double Whale into VFD, or if you just happen to have Dog and Chain, or it can be a lot of variants of these because there's a lot of searching in Fluffals. But basically, if you have Dog and Chain, or one of the cards to search them, you can actually pull out this combo that's pretty simple. And it all is just 2 cards. So what you want to do is go ahead and summon Dog, search out Sheep. Again, if you have them in your hand, it's fine. You're still going to pull off the combo anyways. So you summon Sheep to go ahead and activate its effect to bounce back and get out Edge and Chain. You're going to go ahead and then bring out the Artifact Link Monster. The Artifact Link Monster, you're going to be able to go ahead and search out and place in your back row an Artifact Scythe. You don't have to activate Patchwork, you can use Toy Vendor, it's just any other card that can be activated, so you can proc the Dagda's effect over here. So all you're going to do is search out Scythe and set it. And you basically end with this board. Again, it could be a lot better if you want to go ahead and do other things, but this is like just a really basic combo that I want to explain before we get into the gameplay here. So, I know there's no opponent here, this is just an example combo. On our opponent's turn, at any point we can summon Cruel Whale. Now, Cruel Whale has that effect where once it's fusion summoned, you get to destroy a card on each side of the field. What you're going to destroy is your Artifact Scythe and one other card that they have. So you guys can go ahead and utilize that combo to go ahead and make it so your opponent will be locked out of the extra deck. Now, in this case, there's no other card to pop, so there's no effect for Artifact Scythe to come out. But you normally pop one card your opponent has, and then you're going to go ahead and pop Scythe, and then they cannot special summon. So that's one simple combo that you can do with this deck. But I got a lot more replays, but that's a very, very important combo that I want to go ahead and explain really quick. So onwards with more Fluffals, and these plays, guys, are absolutely fire. So that was a combo that I showed off. I was playing the deck for a little bit, and then some of you guys sent me some replays. And I want to give a shout out to Ross Sangan for that combo. That's where I learned the combo off of. Another thing is, just as a side note, make sure that your opponent has 2 cards when you go ahead and pop the 1 card. The reason why is that way they cannot use impermanence. So it's another great tip. But anyways, this is basically the same concept over here, but I just wanted to slow it down to give you guys the info on that play. Because it's a very important play if you're interested in playing Fluffals at all. It's just a fantastic combo. So you'll see the opponent basically be locked out because the Adamant Scipitar, I can never say that name. Adamantia, that's what we'll call it, the old name. Anyways, once you go ahead and lock them out of the extract, they really can't Yu-Gi-Oh! This guy happened to get relief over here, so he's able to go ahead and do some stuff. This guy's stacking cards with the true name too, which is pretty cool as well. But anyways, so yeah, basically if you lock 90% of Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks these days, they need the extra deck. And then from there, you just fight for Tiger, anything that they set, and then you pop, and then you just game them. And this is just a really easy concept to go ahead and pull off, and you'll be pretty much good to go. And then from here, you can go for Wolf, go for whatever, just make it game. But we're going to be doing more spicier plays over here, so we're going to see the Tiger be brought out by the Sabertooth, and then we can go ahead and VFD, and then just negate all cards that they have. You can also VFD someone turn 1. This is just going to be an OTK play after we've made it so they cannot Yu-Gi-Oh! But let's go ahead and show off like a real simple concept to VFD your opponent turn 1. So all you do is poly, go for Whale, and then you'll get the effect of Chain, and then go ahead and search out the card, and then you can just go for Fusion. And then right here, just this alone, with just a simple, because this card's searchable anyways, it's basically just these 2 and Poly, or any card that can work as Poly. The Witch can do it, the Pendulum. There's a lot of cards that can basically give you the same combo. And all it really comes down to Edge and Chain, searching out Fusion, activate double Whales, go ahead, right? Because this also lets you have that effect where you get to send a Frightful card from your deck or extract to the graveyard. So pretty much this is game for most people because you just go ahead and declare any attribute and your opponent is locked out. They can no longer use any effects of monsters, which what deck doesn't need the effect of that? Maybe Final Countdown, but for the most part, that's game over. And he's going to go ahead and just attack. This one's just, it's a VFD for game. No real point in prolonging it. It's just set monster, don't do anything, okay. And then, actually, I think there's a big play coming up. But most of the time, this is what you can do, is if you go for the true King of all calamities, you can't really expect your opponent to play out of it. Maybe if they contribute this card, because it lasts twice, I feel like it should be to detach all materials from this card, so it only lasts one turn. But yeah, it just locks you out, and then on top of that, the Predator Plant coming out. You can also use the Sheep Link monster, and that will also be a great card. But the last replay, guys, I saved the best for last, which is going to be versus Noble Knights, which isn't really that insane, but there's a double, kind of like double negation, if you will, and there's another card that protects a 3-card, you know, not necessarily disruption, but like one of the cards protects it. So basically, it's getting rid of like 3 cards that would be problematic, so to speak, plus an insane play. So we've got this card that has a negate, and then this card when it has something attached, you can pop a card on the board, and this card protects as well. So Penguin going to go ahead and bring out Dolphin. Dolphin going to go ahead and have that effect to set Toy Vendor. You can also run Bahamut Shark in the deck as well, which will allow you to have access to Totally Awesome. Totally Awesome going to negate this, but this card protects it. So those are the 3 cards. So Tribute 1, and then obviously with this card, once it has something attached, you'll be able to pop a card. That's kind of how the newer Noble Knights, the Flame Noble Knights run. They're okay though. I wouldn't consider them super S tier. But Cross Sheep over here is a fantastic card, being able to special summon another card. So this is going to go ahead and have the ability to pop multiple cards. Keep in mind that Dog gets its effect when it's normal or special. So if you want to use it as material, you already used your normal for Penguin or whatever the case may be, it's still an excellent card to go ahead and utilize. And then we're going to go ahead and see Anaconda. And then at this point, you guys already know it's been game over for a long time. You don't have to play this card. I mean, obviously, it's just more icing on the cake to show you guys that Fluffals are powerful. I honestly wrote this deck off as like, well, it wasn't that strong. But with the newer support, with being able to go to VFD turn 1, it has the potential for turn 1 plays. And then it also has the potential, obviously, for going second. You can OTK quite easy in Fluffals. But now that you guys have seen some of the gameplay, I have one more gameplay of a Fluffal deck over here. And then I'll give you guys some deck profiles so you guys can kind of mess around with the cards. The card that I like most is the new Scythe card, because that lets you go ahead and make plays on your opponent's turn. You could literally just summon a Fluffal, pop cards, do whatever. Again, it's during your opponent's turn, and that's what makes it so good. So, okay, there we go. We see the Edge of Chain. And then I'm going to see the Foolish Royal Goods. Fantastic card in the deck because it just lets you go for Toy Vendor again. One of the best cards in the deck. Unfortunately, this gets stopped over here, so no effect. But Fluffal Dolphin, I'm going to go ahead and set another copy of Toy Vendor, activating the copy of Toy Vendor, and then go ahead and search out another card. Fluffal Wings, one of the really strong cards. Look how many cards we have, too, at our disposal here. Then we also see these Rika Petal. I always want to say Snowfire when I see these. And then we're going to go ahead and see him special summon the Mudan over here. But this deck still sees a little bit of play. I think people just like the artwork, honestly. But it's not, I'd say, on the level of Fluffals. But I think Fluffals definitely have a lot of potential. The problem that I have with the deck is it's hard to fit in a lot of hand traps and permanents, lightning storms, because I want to play all of those in the deck. Because, I mean, you can OTK really easy with lightning storm. And we're going to go and see the Tiger go ahead and have that effect to go ahead and pop. But the card is going to actually protect it. And then he's going to go ahead and bring out the Heli. And then we're going to go ahead and see Cruel Whale. Once again, one of the newer cards over here. Going to go ahead and dump another card, which can kind of start some chain blocking at the right moments over here. But that card is going to go ahead and have that awesome ability. Get rid of that card. But this deck is very resilient. It just like keeps on going for more and more plays. We have Toy Vendor activated over there. And then Sheep going to go ahead and bounce back, bringing back the Edge of Chain. Going to go ahead and make Kraken. And then, obviously, Kraken, very, very good card. Going to go ahead and send one to the grave. And then on top of that, it can make a second attack. And then it also goes to defense, as if that wasn't enough. But it doesn't matter. We're going to go ahead and get the effect and then go into more cards. Massive amounts of damage from the Cruel Whale over here. And that's going to go ahead and be a game. But like I said, I have a few different builds for some deck profiles. This card, honestly, I like it a lot. I know you can search it out. I like playing 3 in every single build that I have. But there was 2 different builds. One that you guys saw over here that made VFD, as well as the Dragon of Red Eyes. But if you guys don't want to play it, you can literally just remove those 3 cards. Because I know technically we don't have it yet, but we don't have the other Fluffal stuff anyways. But here's one variant of the deck profile. So we got double copies of the vanillas for the Red Eyes Fusion card. I think every deck will end up playing this, so it's like it's basically the new staple 3 cards that everyone puts in their deck. And then we have 3 copies of Nibiru, 2 copies of Gamma Seal. We have Scythe, 3 copies of Dog, Penguin. I actually really like Penguin a lot. I feel like Penguin should be at 3, but this is the deck profile that I was given, and you could definitely play more Penguin. I love this card so much. I mean, if it's just used as material, you get to draw 2 cards and then discard 1, so you can really cycle through your cards faster with that. Then Edge of Chain, 3 copies of Bear, that's pretty standard. And then we have the Sabers over here, and then we have the Scythe. This is the new card. Again, I really like this card because I like making stuff on my opponent's turn. And then we have 2 copies of Sheep. You can play 1 if you want, but a lot of times you want to go ahead and have that search off of it. But it's still a decent card because it's basically live at any moment here. And then we have Cat, 3 copies of Wings, 1 copy of Fragile Fusion, 3 copies of Poly, 3 copies of Patchwork, 2 copies of Foolish Boreal Goods. I honestly think you could totally play 3 in this deck as well. Super Poly to deal with boards. I feel like this card could maybe be swapped out for Lightning Storm because you just want to force out some type of negation out of your opponent. Because most of the Fluffal stuff will deal with some of the stuff as well. And Permanents can also be a great card. I just feel like with like the Fluffals in particular, it's really hard to like push for a play and then OTK by using this card like you can with, let's say, Shadalls, that's a deck, or Heroes. You can OTK real easy with Super Poly. But with Super Poly, the reason why is because you generally don't have this card up on the board, and that's the main problem. But, I mean, maybe if you have the right cards, you can go ahead and push for some of the other cards that require, like, a Frightful Fusion monster. On top of that, we've got Toy Vendor. Because again, the problem that I have with this card is you don't use your opponent's materials, and that's usually what makes Super Poly so good. But yeah, 3 Toy Vendor, that's pretty standard. Then we got 2 copies of True Whale for VFD. And then we got Dragon Red Eye, Starving Venom, Fright for Sabretooth, Kraken. And then we've got Tiger, and then True King of All Calamities, Vomit Shark, totally awesome. And then Dagda over here for your turn 1 plays, Cross Sheep, and Vertex Anaconda. And then for the other build over here, I think this was my one of my builds earlier on that I took from someone else and I kind of modified it a little bit. But nonetheless, I actually think Dragon of Red Eye should probably be in every deck. But honestly, I try not to play because when I make that card, people just quit and then I can't get you guys the gameplay. But I still like the Artifact Scythe engine here, which is it's just 1 tech technically. And yeah, also use 1 card out of your extra deck, but I think it's worth. Anyways. Because if you draw it, by the way, you don't have to go for it. You can go for Cross Sheep and make something else. And then if you want to, you can maybe throw in other things like number 41 could be pretty nasty to run into as well. Because then it forces your opponent to use resources. And once they get rid of that, then you go ahead and lock them out anyways. But yeah, 3 copies of Dog, 3 copies of Penguin, 1 copy of Dolphin, 2 copies of Chain. I actually think Dolphin can be 2 if you want to as well. It's just like such an important card, Toy Vendor that is. And I ran 2 copies of Chain, 3 copies of Bear, 1 copy of the Sabers, and then 3 copies of Scythe. I just like going for plays on my opponent's turn. And then 2 copies of Ash, 1 copy of Owl, 1 Sheep, 1 copy of Rabbit, 3 copies of Wings, Frightful Fusion, double Poly, 3 copies of Patchwork, 2 copies of Foolish Boreal Goods. Again, you can play 3 too if you want to. And then I put 2 copies of Repair, and then Factory, 3 copies of Vendor, and Permanents, and Lightning Storm for OTK plays. The extra is pretty much the same, but I kept in Wolf. A lot of people have dropped Wolf, but I still think it's not bad. I mean, if you just happen to want to just attack a bunch of times. I mean, you have room in this extra deck, I would say. But this is another card that I had. I don't know if it's really that important. It gains a bunch of attack. Sometimes this might come up where opponent just makes something with a high amount of stats and you maybe cycle through your disruption. Or they make one of those cards like a boss monster that's just immune to things. Like, you know, it can be destroyed, can be targeted. You know what I'm talking about? Sometimes this card could come up where it can be viable just because it gains 300 attack for each Fairy and Fiend in your graveyard. So if they have like a 5,000, you know, super boss, it's okay. Other cards I considered, I also thought Fright for Vendor was kind of cool, but I just don't really like traps. It's just too slow. And I think Fluffals is a very fast deck. Cards like Twin Twisters could be great as well. I wanted to play Triple Lightning Storm, but like I also wanted to negate certain things, so I threw some of those in there as well. But anyways, guys, that is the new 2020 Fluffal build with, of course, the Cruel Whale, locking your opponent out, and of course we showed you guys that combo early on. But anyways, that's it for the deck replay, guys, and the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you guys did, drop a like on it. If you're new here, subscribe, turn on that bell so you don't miss out on more cool Yu-Gi-Oh decks like the 2020 Fluffal variant. And if you guys want to send me other replays like my boy Magus and Teriyaki over here, because they sent me some of the replays, shouts to those guys. Feel free to send me replays if you guys have some cool other builds of Fluffals. I don't know if there's anything new that can have synergy. Maybe Adamantia Fluffals, lock them out of spells as well. Because if you lock them out of monster effects and spells, it's usually game over. But anyways, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm out. Peace.